If a single night could rewrite your entire life, this would be the night I'd erase from existence. My name is Meline Mattie Carter, and before I dive into the storm that changed everything, thank you for being here. If you love true confessional stories, make sure to stay. Your comments keep me grounded and honest. That night, it shattered everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and myself. Ethan Riley, my husband, was the kind of man people admired without understanding why. Tall enough to make door frames seem smaller, hands steady enough to fix anything, and a laugh that made an entire room lighter. He kissed my forehead every morning, brought me coffee on lazy Sundays, never forgot an anniversary, and carried the scent of home wherever he went. To outsiders, we looked like a couple who had gracefully survived 12 years of marriage. But inside, I was quietly empty, distant in ways I couldn't explain without breaking him. So when an old college reunion came up, it felt harmless. A small escape. A rooftop bar in downtown Atlanta, glowing with string lights and soft jazz, where old memories waited to be unboxed. Ethan was away in New York meeting investors. He hugged me before leaving, told me to have fun, and kissed my cheek in that steady, familiar way that made me feel safe and guilty all at once. Then came the laughter, the stories, the nostalgia, and among the crowd scented with perfume and old dreams, I saw Logan Hale, the boy who once wrote songs about me in high school, the man who had broken me with a smile. He was older now, broader, with a trace of sadness behind his grin, a grin that once made me reckless. The flirting started small, shared jokes, remembered secrets, his hand grazing my waist like it still belonged there. I should have walked away, but I didn't. One hotel room. One mistake. Not a love story, just a night that swallowed me whole and spat me back out. When I woke up, guilt crushed me like a physical weight. I burned my clothes. I cried until breathing hurt. I swore it would die there, buried, forgotten, sealed in silence. But secrets don't die quietly. They breathe. They leak, and eventually, they knock. 3 days later, a message appeared. You're not as good at hiding things as you think. Attached were blurry photos, me and Logan in the elevator. Enough to destroy everything. My blood went cold. Then came the second message. Do exactly what I say, or your perfect husband sees it all. What started as a whisper of fear became a chain around my neck. At first, the demands were small. Withdraw cash. Cancel plans, delete photos. I obeyed because fear felt like the only medicine that worked. Ethan noticed my distance. He asked if I was okay. Lied, mumbling about stress and public relations work while my insides twisted around the secret that could burn our world to ashes. Then the blackmail escalated. Meet me Saturday night. No phone. Wear something nice. I thought about going to the police, but how could I? How do you tell an officer that you cheated and someone has proof? The meeting spot was a dark parking lot behind a coffee shop. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped my keys. When a car pulled up and the window slid down, my heart stopped. Ryan Whitman, our neighbor. The man who mowed the lawn when Ethan traveled. The one who smiled too easily, who once helped me inside after I'd had too much to drink. Now he looked like something entirely different. Calm, dangerous. He smiled and said, You're not very good at hiding things, are you? Ryan didn't want money. He wanted control. He wanted me, on his terms, when he called, how he pleased. It wasn't about guilt anymore. It was about ownership. I got into his car because there was no short-term escape that didn't destroy my life completely. From that night on, Ryan's grip tightened. He had cameras, files, a flash drive filled with things that made my stomach twist every time I thought of them. And I realized this wasn't blackmail anymore. It was a cage. He began, sending videos, each one a cruel reminder that he held my life in his hands. His voice slipped through my phone like poison, whispering threats about our son's safety, about neighborhood gossip, about how one message to the wrong group chat could tear everything apart. Fear became my constant shadow. Sleep abandoned me. I grew thinner, brittle, Ethan noticed. His eyes followed me with a quiet ache, watching me fade in real time. Then came the question that sliced through me like glass, soft but deadly. Are you still in love with me? I lied, just one word, tired. He brushed his lips against my forehead and told me he'd carry whatever I couldn't. That promise broke me more than Ryan ever could. For a while, I almost surrendered to the wreckage, but pain has a strange way of sharpening survival. I began to shift, still outwardly fragile, but inwardly calculating. I learned to wear fear like a disguise while turning it into strategy. Quietly, I started digging into Ryan's past. A restraining order from a former girlfriend, allegations that vanished when he moved towns, patterns of manipulation buried under polite smiles. I reached out to a friend from college, a cybersecurity expert who owed me a favor. Together, we cracked open the flash drive Ryan had been using as leverage. What we found was far worse than I'd imagined. It wasn't just me. There were others, dozens of women, recorded in hotel rooms, snippets of private conversations, names organized neatly in folders like trophies of his control. Ryan wasn't a one-time monster. He was a machine built on silence. I stopped replying to his messages. I let his arrogance grow unchecked until he made his mistake. He showed up at our neighborhood barbecue, red-faced, drunk on confidence, muttering threats through gritted teeth. I met him with stillness. No fear, no tremor. Just quiet calculation. That night, I sent every file we'd uncovered to the people who could ruin him, his ex-wife, his employer's HR department, and several women who didn't yet know they'd been victims too. Then I wiped everything, phones, laptops, backups. I burned what I couldn't delete. It didn't take long. Ryan lost his job. His family vanished overnight. No goodbyes. No closure, just an empty house across the street. The neighborhood, of course, filled in the blanks with gossip. I stayed silent, because the truth, my truth, was jagged. Too sharp to share. If Ethan ever knew everything, he might have destroyed himself trying to protect me. Weeks later, the illusion cracked anyway. He found an old message on my iPad. He read it. Then he left. For 3 days, silence filled every inch of our home. So heavy it felt like the walls were grieving too. On the 4th morning, he came back. His face was etched with sorrow so deep it looked permanent. He said he believed me, that I'd been blackmailed, that I was a victim, but also that some wounds couldn't be unmade. He needed time, space. He packed a bag and went to stay with his brother. I didn't try to stop him. What could I say? Time was the only apology left. Now I sit on our porch watching life continue as if the world hasn't shifted under me. Lawnmowers hum, children laugh, and the sun still sets the same way. But my world feels quieter, emptier. I tell myself I won, that I saved my family from a predator. But then I look at the empty chair beside me, and I remember what victory cost. It wasn't just trust that died that night. It was the softness of love, the small things, the way Ethan used to smile when I walked into a room, the quiet rituals we built over years now tainted by memory and consequence. If you ever believe one mistake can stay buried, hear this. Secrets are alive. They breathe. They spread, and one day they come for blood. I stopped a monster. But I lost a piece of myself doing it. The part that believed love was unbreakable. The part that trusted easily. And now, every time my phone buzzes, my heart still flinches because I taught it how to fear.